Welcome to the Electoral Roadshow with Analyst Wayne Sussman and me, Chris Steyn. Morning, Wayne.
Good morning, Chris, and it's great to speak about the start of a very big election season. We had our first round of by-elections yesterday, 2 in the Western Cape and 1 in Gauteng.
Right, let's go to George first.
A big night for the Patriotic Alliance and Gayton McKenzie. The Patriotic Alliance were able to win not 1, but 2 seats off the Democratic Alliance. This was in the area of Pakalsdorp, where they took they won a very close race against the Democratic Alliance. And then later we'll get to the area of Conville, also in George, where they won another seat off the Democratic Alliance. And this is important for a number of reasons. The George municipality is the 3rd most populous municipality in the Western Cape. It's a significant municipality for the golf players. Of course, this is where Fan Court is. There's an airport in George. There's quite a lot of manufacturing in George. So this is a municipality which clearly does matter. And the Patriotic Alliance, they won the ward. Let's start with Ward 27, which is more closer in the area of Pakalsdorp. They only won it by just over 60 votes. And what was interesting was on the one side of Pakalsdorp, the Democratic Alliance won that voting district. But in the more populous voting district, the turnout was higher and the Patriotic Alliance margin was impressive. And this saw the Patriotic Alliance win the seat. And I just want to read those numbers very, very quickly. It was 51% versus 49%, really narrow. But let's see what happened the last time there was an election here. The Patriotic Alliance won only 18%. So they grew from 18% to 51%. The DA also growing from 36% to 49%. By the ANC got less than 1% here. They tied with the Truth Party, who also got 3 votes. But let's focus on the PA and the DA. Key in both by-elections was that the Good Party and a local party, die Plaaslike Besorgde Inwoners, PBI, did not contest. The last time these parties contested, Good won 26% and PBI won 19%. It's a smart audience. That's almost half of the vote. 2 parties were not on the ballot won. And in Ward 27, the overwhelming amount of PBI and Good voters voted for the PA. Some went over to the DA. And again, that high voter turnout. So my analysis here, before I jump, and it's going to be a similar analysis to Ward 17, is the PA's ability to beat the DA by winning over voters from smaller parties like Good and PBI and energizing new voters who didn't participate the last time to come out. And this was even more pronounced, and I'm going to jump to it right away. Ward 17, the Conville-Rosemoor area. The PA grew from 1% to 60%, the DA getting 38%, declining 2%, so essentially getting very similar to what they got the last time, the ANC falling, and again, who was not on the ballot here, Chris? Good was not on the ballot. They got 32% last time. The Plaaslike Besorgde Inwoners were not on the ballot. They got 21%. That is 53%. If we look at the PA's 60%, essentially in Ward 17, PBI and Good voters went in only one direction, and that direction was to Gayton McKenzie's Patriotic Alliance. So we see the PA winning 2 wards, and again, taking smaller parties' votes, getting new voters or voters who've sat out the last few elections out. This is a great result for the PA. They are now the 3rd largest party, tied with PBI and PBI and George. And in a few weeks' time, we'll have another George by-election, and they might be the standalone 3rd largest party. Incredible when one thinks that in 2021, they only had 1 seat. They're now on 5 seats.
Wayne, do you think the current disunity in the Democratic Alliance has had an impact?
Not in this ward. Maybe more in the Tshwane ward, which we'll get to later, but I don't think it had an impact. Again, the DA will be worried that they lost these 2 seats. They should be greatly worried. The PA is a behemoth which just continues to grow. But the DA is holding on to its voters. It's just voters who voted for other parties are not being turned on by them at the moment. They're being turned on more by the PA. And the DA needs to work out how to get its mojo back with voters who haven't voted for it before or didn't vote for it in the last election.
Like a soapy breakup scene, selling your car can be an emotional experience.
Just how dramatic was the car selling experience?
Not dramatic at all. I did my research and Webuycars was by far the best price.
Very not dramatic. But I like drama.
I was standing there watching my phone, waiting for the money to get in, and there it was.
Yes. Car, driving.
Webuycars, the easiest way to sell your car, by far.
I wouldn't mind a little more drama. Anybody bring me some tears?
Okay, let's go over to Tshwane then.
Yeah, as the results came out and I was up, I usually go to sleep early. That's my secret. We'll share with the audience. I go to sleep early on election nights. Last night I stayed up. This is a very interesting result because the George results came in first. And this area is very close to the Supersport Park Cricket Stadium, famous cricket stadium, in the Centurion part, in the areas of Littleton and De Hoovers. And the DA's vote share did decline from 59% to 53%. But the Freedom Front are the big story here, growing from 16% to 44%. Very impressive showing by the Freedom Front. We saw a by-election, I think it was 2024, where it was in the area in the east of Pretoria, the Freedom Front gave the DA a scare. In other subsequent by-elections in traditional DA areas, the DA did very, very well to reassert themselves and establish themselves as the dominant force in these suburban wards. Last night, the Freedom Front came very close, within about 250 votes, if my numbers are correct, of beating the DA and causing another major political shock. And Chris, this is why it's always important to go into the voting districts. In this Ward 57, there is the area of Littleton, where the DA and the Freedom Front have historically done the best. And then next to it is the area of De Hoovers, where the ANC, Action SA, EFF are more competitive. It is a DA area, but the ANC, the EFF, Action SA are players in that area. And what will worry the DA greatly is, yes, they won the ward, but if you look at the suburb of Littleton, the Freedom Front, and this is where most of the voters in the ward are, actually beat the DA. They beat them in both voting districts, and the DA will be greatly concerned about its fall. What saved the DA's bacon was the area of De Hoovers, where they are traditionally relatively the weakest in. Here they did incredibly well. By the way, I just want to mention the ANC quickly, because as we know, they are currently the largest party in Tshwane. They were on the ballot here, and their support declined from 8% to 2%, so essentially cratering. So the Freedom Front activists around South Africa will look at this result in Tshwane and say, like in 2021, where we gave the DA a headache, last night's result in Ward 57 shows that we can be a force in Tshwane, in Pretoria, and in other areas around the country. They'll be over the moon. So when one takes a step back and look at these 3 results, the DA started 2026 with great hope that they will make a big splash in Johannesburg and across the nation in 2026's local government elections. There's a lot of work for them in George and in Tshwane after we see these results.
And meanwhile, the Pan-Africanist Congress has withdrawn from its working arrangement with the African National Congress in Gauteng. What has this resulted in already, Wayne?
Yes, so it's interesting always to take a step back. First of all, the PAC have not left the government of national unity. They haven't left that ministerial post. I think they knew that there was a change coming about in the Johannesburg Mayoral Committee. They could see that they were going to lose that Mayoral Committee position. And by the way, this is normal in an election year, that you try to differentiate yourself from a party in government because you think that party in government is going to be punished by voters. So the PAC are probably saying, how do we stay in the government of national unity but create distance between us and the ANC? So they withdrew in the Sedibeng District Council, which is in the southern part of Gauteng, places like Vanderbijlmeet and Heidelberg. And they withdrew from the Mfuleni Council, which is the largest most populous non-metropolitan council in South Africa. That's Vanderbijl Park, the actual local municipality. I do not see these governments falling. I think the ANC will remain with the mayoral chain in both of these districts. It just means that the PAC create some distance between them and the ANC, and will hope that by them not being in these governments, voters will be kinder to them. With respect to the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, obviously one of the great liberation movements in South Africa, very active in the struggle. They have been on a downward trajectory since 1994. They've always struggled to find their place. We expect them to struggle in the next election. They will hope that this decision will help them somewhat.
Wayne, which are the most important by-elections coming up?
Yeah, just before I get there, just one crucial point. Tapelo Ahmad, the former mayor of Johannesburg, who had to resign, he is now back in the mayoral committee. Al-Jamara gets the seat the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania had. Again, I don't see this development resulting in the fall of Johannesburg. I see Dana Moreira remaining as mayor. But I find this interesting because Tapelo Ahmad didn't get the best of reviews in the media and from voters. I think he was a brand image problem for Al-Jamar. And I find it interesting that he gets the mayoral committee position because Al-Jamar has a ward councillor who in Lenasia, who's by far the most popular figure in the party, in the Johannesburg party, Ishmael Musa. But he was ignored and they've relied on Tapelo Ahmad. I think Al-Jamar voters take their ward council in Lenasia more seriously than Tapelo Ahmad. And I think this was a missed opportunity for Al-Jamar. And let's see how this plays out for them when it comes to the election. So when it comes to the next round of by-elections, let's go near Lenasia, because I've just been speaking about Lenasia and Al-Jamar. We're having a by-election in Mogale City in the area of Rietfontein. Now, there are not many voters, Chris, in Rietfontein, but why is this significant? And I don't have a map behind me to show you why it's really significant. Is Rietfontein is probably the closest ward in Mogale City, the Krugersdorp municipality, to Soweto. Soweto is the most populous municipality in the country, and here we have a by-election in a township right next door. The ANC did really well here in the last few elections. MK hurt them a bit in 2024, but essentially we're going to be looking for a few things here in 2 weeks' time. One is, are the ANC maintaining their dominance in their traditional strongholds like Rietfontein, or are parties like Umkhonto we Sizwe, and this is more of a Setswana speaking area, able to hurt the ANC in their traditional strongholds? I've just spoken about Setswana, majority Setswana speakers. One of the big trends you and I discussed a lot towards the end of 2025, Chris, was Herman Mashaba and Action SAs having a resurgence. They are on the ballot here. It's going to be interesting to see them. The DA also on the ballot. Interestingly enough, the EFF are not. So this will be key in Gauteng. And then, Chris, there were huge developments in the Western Cape last night. The DA were under the cosh. In 2 weeks' time, the ANC are defending two marginal seats. One is in the Bonnievale area of the Langeberg municipality near Robertson in the Western Cape. And secondly, in the Graafwater Elandsbaai area in the Cedarburg municipality, the ANC defending two marginal seats. It's going to be another very, very interesting round of by-elections, Chris.
Thank you, Wayne. That was Wayne Sussman on the Electoral Roadshow with me, Chris Steyn. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.